Hello, I'm Jan Oczeretyno and this is Military Mind. Armed conflicts, defense and security, land, sea and air. We've got you covered. Last night, the Ukrainian Air Force reported that Russian forces had launched a drone attack targeting multiple regions, including Kherson, Zaporizhia and Mykolaiv. The Ukrainian main intelligence directorate, meanwhile, has claimed responsibility for the destruction of 2 locomotives within the Russian borders. On the evening of the 28th of April in Orenburg, unidentified assailants had set fire to a mainline locomotive. Just days prior, on the 26th of April, a similar act of sabotage unfolded in Vladikavkaz, which resulted in the destruction of another train engine. Both locations are very far from Ukrainian borders, which could mean that Ukrainian saboteurs operate deep inside Russian territory. In other words, bavovna. On the battlefield, however, the situation is deteriorating for the Ukrainian army. In the Donetsk region, the Russian military raised their flag on the western outskirts of the village of Berdychi. Avdiivka remains the area which sees the most intense fighting, with the Russian army making several territorial gains. General Syrsky has admitted that the Russian army has a significant advantage on the front lines and that it has had some tactical successes. Let's move on now to the Middle East, and in the West Bank, the IDF has conducted multiple raids which have resulted in the arrest of at least 7 individuals. Now, these arrests come amid a surge in such operations across Palestinian towns in the wake of the conflict in Gaza. Meanwhile, Israel has also conducted strikes on Hezbollah positions in southern Lebanon. This comes after the Iran-linked group said it fired dozens of missiles at an Israeli settlement in northern Israel. While these exchanges have largely remained confined to border areas, they have increased in scope and intensity. Palestinian Hamas fighters have conducted 3 indirect fire attacks from the Gaza Strip into southern Israel. The Palestinian Islamic Jihad targeted an Israeli military position east of Gaza City. In response, IDF has carried out a wave of airstrikes on the central part of the Gaza Strip. Now, moving on. It's been a frenzy of kamikaze drone strikes in the last few days. The FPV unit of the 71st Separate Jäger Brigade has been on a roll this past week, sniffing out and taking down over 10 enemy mortar positions of all shapes and sizes. Reconnaissance aircraft first pinpoints enemy sites, after which the kamikaze drone swoops in for the kill. Those Russians who are able to flee do so in a hurry, but those unlucky enough to stick around are left lying next to direct mortars and blazing ammo crates for good. Alright, so here's the scoop. A pilot from the Shadow unit spots an enemy Kamaz truck. And then, according to plan, the strike drones company of the 148th Separate Airmobile Brigade, also known as Echo, executes the operation flawlessly. What shall we say? They nailed it, and the Russians clearly must have regretted that they have decided to go into Ukraine and, well, get themselves killed in the process. Okay, so these guys were actually lucky they didn't die in this attack, but needless to say, the truck is a total loss. No insurance company is going to cover this. Anyway, moving on. The war in Ukraine has been raging for over 2 years now. The British Ministry of Defense has tried to provide an estimate of the number of Russian soldiers who have died or been injured in action. And according to published data, it seems that the threshold of 500,000 casualties may soon be surpassed. Time for a quote. We estimate that since the beginning of the conflict, approximately 450,000 Russian military personnel have been killed or injured, said the Deputy Defense Minister, Leo Doherty. Many seem to have emerged victorious in Russia, but not all of them, given the speed of their passage. It has been said that Ukraine currently has an insufficient number of short-range air defense systems. A video has surfaced online in which a Ukrainian Air Force MiG-29 fighter shoots down a Russian reconnaissance drone. It is shown in a good light with a sort of, yeah, we got him vibe. There can be no doubt that the Ukrainian armed forces are still on the top of their game. Due to the organizational chaos from earlier this week, Ukrainian units lost important positions in Oczeretyno, causing that front to collapse. The Russians have been seizing village after village, from which Ukrainian defenders have been withdrawing to avoid encirclement. The evacuation of the wounded is being carried out using BMP-2 vehicles equipped with lattice screens. This scenario is regrettable, but it also was entirely avoidable if the US Congress decided to vote on Ukraine aid like 6 months ago, and not only recently. Well, we wouldn't be seeing any of those scenes. Instead, Ukraine would have at least kept these villages and possibly advanced. But well, hopefully it will be able to regain what it has lost. And in the meantime, we are concluding this episode. So, that's it for today. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates. I'm Oczeretyno. Bye for now.